Taria, I'm well, thank you. Taria, how do I pronounce your first name?
Yeah.
Taria. All right. Now, Taria. All right. I just wanted to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. All right. How are you today, Taria? Yeah, I know it gets stressful. It gets stressful, but I get it. Okay, so first things first, I did not receive your power of attorney in the email. I looked in my spam, I looked in my email, I didn't see it. So if you could send that to me again, I would appreciate it. And sure, not a problem. And make sure it's Warren Nelson, two N's.
People sort of got this from I CC you or it's gonna come from it's gonna say like our first and last name in Wilmington. It's not gonna be the best say. But I sent it from work.
Okay, that's fine.
I forward. So it's WARREN Nelson.
Yeah, so there's two N's, WARRENNELSON at Realty, REALTY, agent, AGENT.com. Warren Nelson at realtyagent.com.
All right, but I just resent it to you again.
All right, I'm in my email looking, so got it. I got it now. All right, very, very good. And let me make sure that I have this. Let me open it, make sure that everything's working here. And take a look at this real quick and make sure we have this to the hospital. And okay, very, very good. All right. And so this is full power of attorney. Okay, excellent. Very, very good. Is mom of sound mind right now?
Yeah.
Okay, very, very good. Excellent. All right, excellent. So we have everything. I have that for the title company because they're going to have to work the deed and they have to make sure that you have the power to sign in order that we do the transfer of the deed. Okay, so now what I want to do is go over the paperwork that I sent you. And so when you get to that email on the one that I sent you, okay, let's go over the very first form called the consumer notice. You'll see that consumer notice there.
Yes.
Okay, so the consumer notice explains agency. What is agency? Employment. So the services I'm allowed to offer you and the services I'm not allowed to offer you. So the consumer notice explains seller agent. This will be me representing you as the seller, buyer agent, dual agent, and designated agent. So the first one will apply. This is going to be our business relationship between me and you. You're going to be the seller. I'm going to be your agent representing you to get the property sold. And so I'm going to be placing a for sale sign. I'm going to be qualifying potential buyers for you on this property. And so I'm going to be representing your best interest as a seller, and I'm going to be your agent representing you as the seller. All right. Now, if we get a buyer for the property, you're hiring me to advertise the property and find potential buyers. So I could also represent the buyer. That's where you see dual agency, where I represent both the buyer and the seller. Now, The seller doesn't care about dual agency. You're hiring me to find potential buyers for the property. And so it'd be best if I can represent those buyers rather than having another real estate agent involved for a smoother transaction. But you need to understand what dual agency is where I'm representing the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. And that's basically what you're hiring me to do is find potential buyers for the property. Any questions or concerns about that? Okay, very, very good. Designated agency is where the buyers might have a problem with dual agency, but not the sellers. You're hiring me as a dual agent to find buyers, but the buyer might not be comfortable. The buyer might say, I'm not comfortable with you representing me and the seller, and I would like to have my own representation. That would be designated agent, where the broker will designate one agent to represent the buyer and one agent to represent the seller if they were not comfortable with the dual agency arrangement. The last page, notice the last bullet point. The last bullet point says the Real Estate Recovery Fund exists to reimburse any person who has obtained a final civil judgment against a Pennsylvania real estate licensee owing to fraud, misrepresentation, or deceit in the real estate transaction, and who has been unable to collect a judgment after exhausting all legal and equitable remedy. This real estate recovery fund is designed to protect you against the real estate broker or the real estate agent. Should I do you wrong in any way, the real estate recovery fund is designed to protect you from unscrupulous real estate agents or brokers. And so it's my job to make sure that you understand there's a telephone number there, not toll free, but that is a number that gives you the backup and assurance that you're not only being represented by the brokerage, but you're being represented by the state as well. All right. And now notice that I have your name there, Teria Williams, agent of Andrea. Teria Williams, agent of Andrea Williams, because you are power of attorney, and that makes you an agent. You're not a trustee, an executor, or administrator. So as a power of attorney, you're known as an agent of Andrea Williams.
Okay.
When you sign, you will sign Terry Williams, agent of Andrea Williams. That's how you will sign everything as well.
Okay, so where it says consumer signature, I will write Terry Williams, agent of Adrian Williams.
That is correct. That is how you're going to sign as power of attorney. So you're not going to sign POA. The POA is basically for the title company. The POA gives you limited restrictions, but when we're signing the contracts, instead of signing a POA, you're going to be signing agent of Adrian Williams. Now, each title company has their little hang up. I know the title company I work with prefers agent of, but if they request a power of attorney to be signed, I'll just do a simple addendum, and then you'll just say power of attorney for Adrian Williams rather than agent of. But agent of is probably most likely what we're going to work with. And so that's what you'll sign, Teria Williams, agent of Andrea Williams, and then today's date. Any questions about this consumer notice?
No.
Okay, very good. The next form I want to go over is the numbers, the money. Let's go over to the seller's estimated closing. Because if you're not happy with the numbers, there's no sense of proceeding. Let me know when you have that open. Now, I told Dre that we would probably get about $117,000 for the property. We're going to list it for $127,000. We want to give ourselves some play because you know that the buyer's going to come down lower on us. And so we're going to put it on the market for $127,000. All right. I'm sorry about that Jake being there. I used that Jake to line up all my numbers, and I just forgot to take out the Jake part. So I used that to help me line up all my numbers. So I apologize that that's there. So I should have taken it out, but I'll make sure that it's when I send it to you in the DocuSign, it's not there anymore. All right. So I got the property address, 5104 Master Street, Philadelphia, PA 19131, and Teria Williams, agent of Andrea Williams. Notice we don't have a buyer or a settlement date yet because we didn't put the property on the market yet. All right. So we got a purchase price of 127. The broker's fee, as I spoke with Dre, my fee is 6%. It's always completely negotiable, but since me and Dre have been working together for so many years, our negotiations have come to a point where we understand. So I have a commission of 6%, $7,620. The preparation of the deed by the title company to take it out of your name and put it in the buyer's name is $495. There is a transfer tax just went up under the new mayor of Philadelphia. She's got a very aggressive plan to do 18,000 new homes. So the transfer tax is almost 4.5% now. So it's 2.125 on the buyer side, 2.125 on the seller side. So that's $3,175 in transfer tax on your side. Now you see there on the line?
Mhm.
We have municipal certification. This here is to make sure that there's no violations against the property with the city of Philadelphia. Hopefully there's not, but there is a fee to run that cert, $195. There's a notary fee usually charged by the title company, $75, and these are just estimated numbers. Domestic lien search means that you got to make sure there's no child support issue. So since you, power of attorney, and Andrea are both going to be there, it's $20 for each of you. It'll be a $40 charge to make sure that neither of you are in arrearage of child support. Then we have your water bill for $17,000 and your PICO for $4,000. Altogether, the charges to sell this property come to $32,600, including the water and the PICO. All right. So we sell this property for $127,000 minus the $32,600. That's going to leave us $94,400. But then we have those two mortgages totaling about $70,000. So if we subtract the first and the second mortgage from that 94, it looks like it's going to walk away with roughly $24,400 if we get the property sold for $127,000. Is that an acceptable number to you? All right then. So, sure.
So is that something that has to be paid through here? Because I know like the water does.
Does it have to be paid how? What's your question?
People don't have to be paid before the house can be sold as well.
No, it'll be paid at the settlement. Everything's going to be paid at settlements. Nothing gets paid. Go ahead.
Is it like I know that the water has to be paid? It's not it has to be paid when the house is sold. Is Pico the same way now?
Here's what's going to happen. The title company is going to call gas, electric, water for final meter readings. And when they call for the final meter readings, they will also get any unpaid bills that are owed as well. So if Pico says, well, yes, here's the final meter readings, but we still have an unpaid balance of $4,000, then the title company will collect that at the settlement table. Same thing with the water. So, yeah. And so they will call for final meter. We also have to make sure that we have meters, water meter, gas meter, and electric meter in the property for the buyer. And we will take meter readings. Now, all the meters are there in the property, yes? I know. I believe. Yeah, I was there and I got pictures and video and I think everything was fine. So nothing struck me as unusual. And so, but yeah, so the buyer gets to do a final walkthrough and they take meter readings and the title company calls the utility companies for final meter readings. So we always want to make sure that the utility companies meter readings that they received and the meter readings that we're taking on the property are matching.
Okay.
All right. So that means if everything works out well, we will be walking away with $24,400 if we get it sold for $127,000. I suspect that it'll probably come in closer to $117,000, which means that 24 could be maybe 14. But it's my job to negotiate and see what we can get for you. But if we want to get it sold and get out from underneath everything, I think the 127 is a good price to put it on the market to get a lot of activity on it.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
Very good. So then you would be signing and dating this when I send it to you in DocuSign as well. Now that you're
Okay.
happy with the numbers, let's go over the contract that employs me to represent you. That's called the listing contract there.
I'm here.
Okay, very good. As you can see, it's my brokerage, ISS Realty LLC, located on Castor Avenue, and I'm Warren Nelson, the agent, with my license number and my information. The seller is Taria Williams, agent of Andrea Williams. The property is 5104 Master Street, Philadelphia, PA 19131. There is your phone number. I will be adding your email to this when I send it to you in DocuSign.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Notice now, see those numbers to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down, these numbers to the left? Those are called line itemized numbers, and I'll use them to show you where we are. So we're going to be on line item 14. Does seller have a listing contract for this property with another broker? I'm the only broker you're working with to get this property sold. So I put no there. You're not working with any other broker. Is that correct? Okay, we're listing this property for 127,000, and there's the property information again, 5104 Master Street, zip code 19131 in the Township of Philadelphia, County of Philadelphia, School District of Philadelphia. This property is legally zoned as a residential multifamily RM1 zoning. In the books and on line 23, there's your tax ID number for this property as well. This contract on line 27 is starting today, 8/26/2025, and I usually work with my sellers for 3 months, 90 days, to try to get the property sold. So I got an ending date of 11/26/2025, which is 90 days to try to get the property sold. Any objections with that ending date?
No.
Okay, very good. Okay, yes, I understand. Now notice on line 44, as I talked to you about in the numbers, my commission fee is 6%. You're okay with that understanding?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Going on to the next page, on line 61, it says the sale occurs within 30 days. Here's what this means, Terry. I'm going to be bringing potential buyers to the property in the next 90 days. Hopefully we get it sold quickly. But let's just say that after 90 days, you decide you're going to work with somebody else that couldn't get the job done. But one of those buyers that I brought through the property while we were working want to make an offer. I'll call you and ask if you listed with another broker yet. You say no. I'll say, listen, one of those buyers want to make an offer. Would you still want to entertain the offer? If you say yes, then it does extend my contract for 30 days, only for those that I brought through the property where I can still get paid. If it's somebody I didn't bring through the property during the 90 days, then that 30 days does not exist. This is called a broker protection clause for procuring cause. So I want to make sure that you understand it's not an automatic extension. It only applies to those who I brought through the property while you and I were under contract. Do you understand that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, very, very good. Look at line 73. Out of the 6% commission, I'm willing to give up 2.5% of that 6% to another agent to bring us a buyer. I don't do 3% because I'm the one spending the money on marketing and advertising. So when you take out that marketing and advertising money, splitting it evenly is 2.5% to the other agent, 2.5% to me after the advertising. So I'm willing to give 2.5% of my commission to another agent to help facilitate this sale of this property. Is that okay? Clear? Okay, very, very good. And then we go to the page 4, because everything else is for your reading pleasure. Notice on line 207, before I put this into the MLS, before we have a bunch of unqualified buyers trampling through the property, I'm asking for 2 weeks to let us use our database. My agents and we have a large database. So what we like to do is advertise this property as off market, not in the MOS. You guys have private access to this property. This is the way that we usually get the property sold quickly. So I'm asking for that 2-week period before we put it in the MOS to try to have better control and better qualified buyers. Once I put it in the MOS, then I'm relying on the other agents to bring their buyers. Hopefully they're qualified or not through the property. Will that be okay with you to give me 14 days to market this property off market?
Yeah.
Okay, because you have the right. If you want to say no, put it in the MOS immediately. I'm sorry. So okay. Okay, very good. All right.
The for sale sign won't go up on the house until September the 9th.
No, I'm going to put up a for sale sign today. So I'll put up the for sale sign and they will know that it's there. I'm just not putting it into the MOS. I'm going to be sending out to my database a private email to all my database telling you that, listen, I got 5104 Market Street. Nobody else knows about it. Are you interested? Do you know somebody who's interested in it? Get it before it goes on the market and everybody else knows about it. So that's what I'm asking for there on line 207. Okay, but yeah, I'm gonna put a sign on it in a lockbox today, and then you can see on line 185 above that line 185, where a permitted broker and broker's option may use a for sale sign and a lockbox. So you're giving me permission to put a for sale sign and a lockbox on the property, correct? Okay, that'd be the best and easiest way of getting it, giving us the most exposure and making it easy for the only a broker and a real estate agent can use the lockbox. The lockbox does not go out to private citizens or any Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to go see a property. So they have to have a real estate license in order to use the lockbox to get into the property. Okay, now on the next page, line 242, the taxes, there is no arrearage of the taxes. The taxes are up to date. So the taxes are $1,660 a year. And so there's no arrearage there. Notice on line 258, we got a first mortgage with H&R Block for $52,700. And we have a second mortgage with Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency for now $9,500. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Notice that it's asking for address, phone number, and account numbers. That's not public information. I'm going to need that from you because I'm going to, and the title company is going to need to call for payoff from both of them when we settle this property. So I'm going to need the address, the phone number, and the account numbers of both these lien holders. When you get that information, please provide that to me.
Okay. The address and phone number and account number for the H&R Block and the Pennsylvania Housing Finance.
That is correct. Because we're going to need to contact them and let them know that the property sold, and we need to get what's called a payoff statement from them to pay off the 52.7 and to pay off the 9,500. This way here you get a satisfaction piece, so the public record shows that these have been paid. They're no longer a lien on the property. And that's why I'll need that. So when you get that information, please send it to me. Notice on line 276.
Oh.
Go ahead. Question?
No, go ahead. You said 276.
Notice that we're only going to be accepting a cash buyer or a conventional. This is not going to go FHA. FHA is not for investors. The property has to be in moving condition. So we're not going to be able to take an FHA buyer or a VA buyer. So we're limited to cash buyers and conventional buyers with a conventional mortgage. Okay, very good. So that does limit, and then that would be it. Now, what you will be doing on this one is you will be initialing each page to the right, and I'll send it to you in the DocuSign. So all you got to do is click, 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 and it'll automatically put your initials there. You're also going to initial line 306, 307, 309 that says the seller has received the consumer notice. That was the first form I went over with you. The seller has received the seller's property disclosure. That'll be the next form that I'm going to go over. And it also includes that lead-based paint disclosure in that seller's property disclosure. All right. And then you will be signing and dating this. This is the employment contract that allows me to represent you. Any questions or comments about this?
No.
All right, excellent. The last form that we got to do right now is the seller's property disclosure. This is required by law. We cannot buy or sell a property in the state of Pennsylvania without this seller's property disclosure. And you can see on line 4 of the seller's property disclosure that the real estate seller's disclosure law requires that before an agreement of sale is signed, the seller in a residential property must disclose all known material defects about the property. And so that's what this form is. It's requiring the law, and you're revealing everything that you know about the property. Notice what I did for you to make life a lot easier. I went ahead and filled out this for you. And notice those check boxes there. Does seller, line 47 on the second page, does seller possess expertise in contracting, engineering, architect, environmental? Do you? Do you have any That's okay. So we're on the second page of the seller's property disclosure. So now we're no longer in the listing contract. Close the listing contract and open up the last form, the seller's property disclosure. Okay. On the very first page of the seller's property disclosure on line 4, it says the real estate seller's disclosure law. You see that? Underneath your name. Yeah, you can see those little gray numbers to the left on the first page of the seller's property disclosure. Okay, very good. Yeah, a little tough there at the beginning, but it says the real estate seller's disclosure law requires that before an agreement of sale is signed, the seller in a residential real estate transfer must disclose all known material defects about the property. So what this is saying is, by law, you can't buy or sell a property without this form. And you're required as a seller to fill this form out to disclose to the buyer what you know about the property as required by law. All right. And so let's go to page 2.
Yeah.
And you can see on line 47, does the seller possess any expertise in engineering or architect? Do you have any expertise there?
No.
That's why I put no. Is the seller the landlord of the property? Since you're power of attorney.
No.
No, very good. Is the seller a real estate licensee? And so you can see that I've answered most of all these questions for you already. Was the seller the most recent occupant on line 57? No, because you had rented it out to tenants. Okay, very good. And so an individual holding power of attorney on line 63, since you are selling the property with power of attorney, I got it checked there for line 63. Yes, power of attorney. When was the property acquired? Mom bought this property back in June 23, 1992. Type of property, it's not a condominium, so line 72. It's not a condominium, it's not a cooperative, it's not a homeowner, so no to all those questions. There's no condo or monthly association fees. It doesn't apply. So let's go to line 91 where it says roof and attic. This is some information I need to get from you. When or where was the roof last installed? Had Mom did any work to that roof in the time that she's owned that property?
I honestly don't know. I know it was work done to the roof, but it's been like years ago.
And see,
I don't know exactly when.
That's why we have unknown check there, because then, yep. Okay, so, and then since there's no work that you're familiar with, then that means line 94, we don't have any paperwork for any roof repairs. So was the roof any portion of it replaced during your term? You just said no, not that you're aware of. Or has that been repaired, an existing roofing material removed? Unknown. But here's answers that I might need. Has the roof ever leaked during Mom's ownership? Do you know of any leaks cracks of the roof?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say yes.
All right. And then, so if the roof did leak, then notice on line 106, we're going to have to explain what happened on that roof. So, what happened with the roof?
I know it was leaking on the second floor. I want to say the big bedroom.
That's true because the roof pitches to the back.
Yeah, I haven't honestly been upstairs or in the house in years. Probably upstairs for sure in years. Like downstairs, I've been downstairs, but I haven't been upstairs. But
Well, I did take pictures in there, and the drop ceiling in the back room is absolutely coming through. So there was some type of leaking at one time. So it's clear that the ceiling is coming back down in the back room. So, but as far as you know, no work has been done to repair that leak.
not that I know of now.
Okay. All right, then. So that's why we have those answers there. No. And now I'm going to leave it no. Remember, this is an investor property. It's not really that important. We just need to comply with the law. All right. There. So let's go to the next page where it says basement. There's no sump pump in the property that I saw. And so I put no there. And then is the sump pump working? Since it's no, it's not applicable. There's no water filtration system in the property. Termites, I didn't notice any termites, but again, maybe not. But right now, you're not aware of any termites, are you?
No.
Okay, very good. So that's why it's all no there. No structural issues. As a matter of fact, the property is actually very sound. No grouting problems, no cement problems there. So the property is actually pretty good structurally wise. So there's no problem structurally. Go to the next page. So now we're looking at line 187 on page 4. It's public water. So the rest will all be no because it's public water. And there's no testing of public water. There's no well water, so we can bypass that. Go to the next page, to line 226, and it's public sewer, as you can see on line 233. So all the others will be no or not applicable because it's public sewer. All right. So that takes care of all that. Let's go to the next page where it says the plumbing. And what you have down in the basement, you have some copper, you have some PVC, and you even have that PEX tubing down in the basement. So that's why you have yes, yes, yes to those 3 that I noticed in the basement. All right. The heating is also natural gas. So it's not an oil tank that you have oil delivered to. It works by the gas company PECO. So it's natural gas. All right. And that's the heating fuel, natural gas. So that takes care of that page. The next page talks about special stoves like wood burning stoves, pellet stoves. None of them are there. You don't have any fireplaces, but you do have a chimney. Every house has a chimney. It might not have a fireplace, but it has a chimney. And so you have one chimney in this property, but no fireplaces. So that's why it says, are you aware of any fireplaces? The answer is no, but notice that it says on line 362, are there a chimney? Yes, every property has a chimney. If it didn't have a chimney, then you wouldn't have ventilation in the property. So it has a chimney, one chimney.
Right.
All right, very, very good. It's not central air. There's no central air conditioning unit in the property. It's all window air conditioning if they want air conditioning in the property, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the next page. And any items that we're leaving with the property, the only thing I saw was the ceiling fans in one of the room. There's a ceiling fan. We're leaving the stove, even though it's not in great condition. It is there. And I think I saw a smoke detector or 2. And so we're saying that they're working fine. But what about the stove? That stove did not look like it was working. Is that stove working? Was the tenant able to cook when they were there? Okay, very good. So I do have no. That's okay. So are you aware of any problems or repairs needed to the phone? Okay, so very good. So we answered everything in the seller property disclosure that you would need. There's no underground the septic systems. There's no flooding or drainage. The property's not in the flood zone moving down. There's no boundary issues. There's no mold issues or radon issues with the property. And so moving right along, I answered all these for you. Then that means you're going to be signing and dating this seller's property disclosure, saying that all these are truthful and exact answers. You can look it over again and double check and make sure everything is right. But you will be initialing each and every page, and you will also be dating it to the left. Every page will have your initial and today's date on every page. I'll be sending it to you in a DocuSign in a little bit to do that. Any questions about this?
No.
That concludes our contract, all four forms, the consumer notice, the estimated closing cost, the seller's property disclosure, and the listing agreement. This will now allow me to represent you. Once I get everything signed back today, I'll have a sign on the property either today or tomorrow. And then I'll have the lockbox with the keys that Dre gave me in the lockbox, and we will now start marketing the property, and I will be giving you feedback and letting you know how many showings we had, what kind of feedback we're getting, and we should get a lot of pull on this one at the price, and it'll be a lot of investors, but investors are tough to work with. They're always trying to nickel and dime us in every dimension, so it'll be my job to represent you and try to get as much money as we possibly can. But once I get everything signed from you today, I'll have a sign on it today or tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. I'm looking forward to working with you, Teria, and looking forward to learning how to pronounce your name correctly. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You are very welcome. Looking forward to working with you. Now that I explained everything to you, any questions, any comments?
No.
Oh,
When you send the stuff, and then I can get it signed and sent right back to you.
I will do that. And then I'll let you know that I sent you an email. And then all you need to do is just click away. It'll put your initials, your date, and your signature in every spot that I need it to be. All you got to do is click, 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 and it'll automatically put everything there for me. And I'll send you it. No, no, when you sign it, you can set up your DocuSign. Terry Williams, agent of Adrian Williams. You can set up your DocuSign to do it that way. So you're going to set up your signature. All right. And then, so I would recommend that instead of using a computer signature, that you're going to use it. And it doesn't have to be great. It could be sloppy, but it'll still be legal. And so I would probably say set up your own signature in the DocuSign, Terry Williams, agent of Andrea Williams. And then once you do that, every time you sign something, it automatically sign it that way, Terry Williams, agent of Andrea Williams.
Okay.
All right. If you need any help with that, let me know. But everything should be self-explanatory and it should be easy. And I'm looking forward to working for you, and I'm looking forward to getting this property on the market.
So much, and I appreciate you again, Warren.
You're very, very welcome. I'm looking forward to assisting you and getting this done for you. You enjoy your day, and I'll be in contact with you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
One. Okay, agents. So you just heard a live demonstration of a listing agreement. I had already filled out the forms, as you were able to see, and I went and explained them. I emailed all the forms to the seller. I then called and went over the forms with the seller. You just heard me do that. And now I will DocuSign the forms to the seller to sign and send back. And then I'll go out and put a sign on the lawn and a lockbox on the property. And then we have a new listing. I'm now representing a seller. And so it's very easy, ladies and gentlemen. Notice how I was able to explain everything to the client and go over it. Usually the clients will not ask a lot of questions or have too much concerns, but notice what I did. I went over the consumer notice first, and then I immediately went over the numbers. As long as they're happy with the numbers, then the listing contract is easy. And I used the numbers to get into the employment contract. So I like to do consumer notice. Then I like to do the numbers, seller's estimated closing cost. Then, if they're happy with the numbers, then it makes it easy to do the employment contract, the listing agreement with the seller, and then the seller's property disclosure. Seller's property disclosure is very difficult. And since I'm not in front of the client, I like to assist the client in the seller's property disclosure and have a recording showing that we went over that and the information that I put in the seller's property disclosure is agreed to and approved by the seller so that there is no ambiguity in the courtroom later because it's an electronic transaction and the seller's property disclosure form is a little bit difficult for sellers. I like to try to have or try to assist the seller in filling out the form as much as I possibly can, and then having them just initial and date. And so if you learn my techniques, you can see how easy it is to land a listing. All right. So it did take about 30 minutes to go over everything, but now it's done. Now I got a client who appreciates me, and now I got a job to do and get the property sold. So, ladies and gentlemen, 5104 Master Street is on the market for $127,000. This is a multi-unit property, ladies and gentlemen. It is great. It needs work, not work as far as renovation, but it's got a lot of furniture in there that's got to be moved out. It does have a ceiling that needs to be repaired in the back room. It needs a fresh coat of paint and carpeting, but this is a moneymaker. This is a big property on Master Street, a legal multifamily property. And I think, for the price, $127,000, it's a steal. This will sell. So you guys get first crack at it if you actually are listening to the videos that I sent you. But I did this video for you, my agents, and I'm going to dub it. I'm going to produce it. I'm going to upload it and send it to you. And this is for my agents so that when I did with this client, you got to hear a live communication between the seller and myself and how we went over the forms so that you now know how to explain those forms the same way as I did. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting together this library for you so that you can always go back to these videos anytime you want. So once again, be safe, be happy, be healthy. I'll talk to you in the next video. You owe me. Just kidding. All right. Talk to you soon.